It is today, May 19th, 3:30, and I'm calling this session and board meeting for the Lincoln Parish Library Board to go to order. May I have a motion to approve the agenda, please? Second? Okay, discussion? Questions? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposers, nay? Motion carried and approved. No public comments, I can say, or should I just say, do we have any public comments before assuming? With none, then we're going to move on for the approval of the minutes. You have the minutes that have been attached there. I'm going to give you a few minutes to go over those, and then we'll vote for approval for the minutes. Okay, can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll put the motion that we approve the minutes.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, thank you. To move. Discussion, questions? With none? All in favor, aye. Opposers, nay. Okay, motion carried. Minutes have been accepted. Okay, now for the next item for the statistics, if you don't mind. Marcy, bring us up to date.
All right, so
What we have?
what you're looking at is 4 months worth of statistics. And I've pretty well got everything in there. We've got to locate our tally sheet for January for the patron visits, but I've got the other 3 months in there. And then I'm waiting on the electronic usage from Amir. He has to send us those months. But what you got is just pretty standard information. It's the same format that you've been seeing, or based off the statistic sheets that I've seen from previous years. I did add a few things in here that I think are, pertinent to understanding how some things work. For instance, you will see that we now keep tally of. So previously we were keeping tally of just like our patrons and things like that that come visit, but I wanted to kind of see what we were doing as far as new patrons. And so I'm playing with our Verso system right now to see how we are on new library card signups. But I was keeping tally of our outreach every time we got a new person out on outreach. And then Hoopla has a feature where it will tell you how many of the circulations from that month were people who've never used Hoopla before through us. And so I've got a call out to Friegel and Libby as well to see if their system will do the same thing. But it was interesting to me to see that some of these digital resources are seeing, even now, month by month, some growth in usage from people who've never utilized them before. So I think that's good because we're getting the word out, and I'd like to see how that goes through the year as we're being boots on the ground. So that's a new number that you normally would not have had on here previously. Friegel numbers, you'll get those probably next month. The way they do that is they'll send us like 6 months, and then we get another 6 months at the end of the year. That's that consortium, they just send out the statistics that way. I don't know if they have to get the number from Friegel differently, but that's just how it's been done. Other than that, the new thing that you're going to see is down in that bottom corner. I'm tracking room usage. Based off our conversations with some of our committees and things, just keeping track of how much some of this rental space or this public space actually gets used. So of course, you're gonna see zeros because a lot of it was shut down. And then you'll see like our study rooms, we opened those back up. Community room isn't yet opened up, but we're working on that. We're working through our quarantine items to get those cleaned out, get the room back in order so that it can become available. I've also been tracking, now this is just since I've been here, I don't have any numbers from before my time, but how much we were utilizing this event center space. And so what you'll see in that bottom corner where it says event center, you'll see how many times the space was used and how many people came through that door. So of course you're gonna see a growth in April. We opened it back up. We started working with some of those community groups. You're gonna see even more of a growth in May because we've had even more usage over here. So I thought that was important for you guys to see that as well, so I added it into the statistics sheet. So, other than that, it's pretty standard numbers across the board, based off of what we've always reported. Does anyone have questions?
Under the new patrons information, are you gonna put new library cards? Or
Yeah,
that you're just gonna be
I'm working with, I'm struggling through a couple of things with Verso right now, as far as reporting. But that is something I intend to add in there, and keep track of. I'm trying to see that we can get the reports through that. If not, we're gonna have to keep a manual tally at Circus. But I'm trying to do it the other way, just be one less thing for us to handle manually.
So like a new Hoopla patron is probably somebody who has a
Who
library.
has a library card, but they've
But
never
they've
used
never
the
used it.
resource before.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Hoopla says, oh, we got a new patron.
Yeah.
To them. If they probably had a library card, but hey, they're using something we offer that they haven't used before. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and that was all automatically on the report they sent me, and that's kind of what sparked me adding this into our report, because I was like, well, that seems like important information, so. Okay.
Just kind of curious, Marcy, for the patrons' visits
Mm-hmm.
in the month of March and the month of April.
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought that would have been the reverse, that we would have had more in April than in March, but was March when we just really started opening back up?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't really tell you exactly why it went that way, but it did. The only thing I can give you any clarification on as far as the visits is we were shut down an entire week in February. So those numbers went down to 6,000. You'll also see our circulation went down substantially. That was a whole week from snowpocalypse. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know the
All right,
cause.
just curious. That's all I was-
It could be a number of things. I know the kids are in testing right now. You know, I don't know if they're just not coming in as much because of that, but,
I'm just curious. So,
okay.
looks good. Looks like we're moving up.
We're definitely doing better. If you'll go back and look at the statistics I gave you last month from the end of 2020, we are definitely seeing upward projection pretty much all the way across the board.
Are there other further questions from Marcy or comments?
Was spring break in April?
Yes, in March.
Oh, is it March?
March. Oh, well.
Which, to be honest with you, that can work but two ways. If they're not going anywhere, because we were still at 50% at that point. They weren't traveling, they were coming in here in droves, so.
Well, we'll see now. I think now that we're trying to get back a little bit to the normal, we're seeing probably the numbers fluctuate a little more. Okay. Thank you, Marcy. Appreciate that. Okay, next item on the agenda, discuss and adopt updates to the event center policies and the library board trustee job descriptions.
Okay, so I've got several things here we need to look at. The main thing is gonna be the very first line in yellow. We were updating based off the mandate last time. We wanted some verbiage that was a little more inclusive so that no matter what happened, whether we went back or forward, we're showing that we honor whatever the current mandate is from the state. So I changed the verbiage. Amy, please, feel free to, okay.
Pretty straightforward. I like
Pretty
it.
straightforward, okay, so that is the main thing that we need to really address today. What I'm gonna show you, the rest of this is stuff that I would just, since I've been doing this for going on almost a month now, Things that I've seen as far as our functionality, walking through the policies with people, things we should probably address that maybe weren't addressed before. And then two, I've done some research. You'll see this little tiny sheet here. I've been looking at other venues and what in the parish and what they do. And so in retrospect, after doing all of that, I have suggestions. Outside of that first line, you do not have to take action on any of these things today, but I definitely want you guys thinking about this, just because it would help our functionality. So the main thing is it's not defined in our policy prior to this that we have the 2 kitchens available and that they are included in a rental. We never specified whether they were included in the rental or if they were an additional cost. Because we did not have them on the pricing sheet as an additional cost, I was assuming they're included in the rental. So we definitely need something that specifies that. And so you'll see at the bottom where it says catering prep, I put a little tagline in there, it says access to these locations, is included in your rental. I would like to see that implemented. On the back side, this is where it's going to get hefty. We start looking at fees and things like that. We never had anything in our policy that came out and said, hey, we have a deposit you have to pay. That was a practice that they were doing, but there was nothing in the policy that backed it up. And there was also nothing in the policy that said how much that deposit was, or if it was based off of which room you rented, or how long you rented, or anything like that. Based off of my research, I looked at 2 facilities in the parish that charge for rental space, and they are the Convention Center and the venue of Ruston. Now, space-wise, the Convention Center is the only place that really competes with us outside of White Oak, which White Oak is its own unique thing. It is a wedding venue. It is all-inclusive. It is nothing like what we do here. So I didn't even include them in here. But the Convention Center will hold 600 people. Our Ruston room holds 615, theater style. So space-wise, they're the only ones that really compete with us. What you'll see is what their pricing is. So that first set of prices, that $700 to $1,200, they charge $700 on a weekday, $1,200 on weekend. The venue is very similar, $800 on a weekday, $1,200 on a weekend. Their hours are a little different than ours. We run 8 to 10 under our regular policy, and we request that caterers and any cleaning crew is out by 11. Everyone pretty much does a full day, 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. So keep that in mind, that we're different in that way as well. And as far as the deposit, the Convention Center deposit is $500. The venue, they charge $300 deposit for their small room, which only holds 100 people, or their big room, which is $500, which holds up to 200 people. So it's a lot to think about. But what I've basically done is taken the best out of these policies and sort of implemented ours so that we can include some of this verbiage that we've lacked before. I have recommendations on there for deposits for either a half day or a whole day. You guys can make recommendations to change that as you see fit. There's also verbiage in here, so another practice that they were doing prior to me coming was, the way it typically worked is they would charge a deposit. If you stayed over an hour, it came out of your deposit. Or if you stayed over 2 hours, it came out of your deposit. Or if you left and something was wrong with the facility, it was damaged, or if our staff had to stay and clean up behind you, it came out of your deposit. That verbiage was not in policy. It needs to be in policy if we're going to do it. So I added that in there as well. I also added verbiage that said, should any cost of the damages exceed your deposit, you will be getting a bill. So that's something you need to consider. Damages could exceed $500. If they exceed $500, does the library eat that cost, or do we send them a bill? So I put that in there in case that was something you guys wanted to add in. The other thing I would like to see implemented is previously, security was sort of on a determination from either the event center coordinator or the director whether or not the event needed security. I'm going to be upfront with you. I don't like the idea that that falls on me because that holds me accountable. If something goes wrong and I said they didn't need security, or something didn't go wrong and they're like, well, why did I have to pay for security? The only place I saw that addressed this was the convention center, and they made sure that you have to have security if there are 100 more people in the event. So again, that's another thing. And then the other thing I'd like you guys to consider is right now the way we work is you have to pay in full up to 30 days before your event. You have up to 2 weeks before your event to cancel and get your full deposit back. At 2 weeks, I can't turn around and book that venue out again. I can't do it. There's no way. It's done. It's over with. We've lost the money. And 30 days cuts it kind of short. Sometimes you're chasing rabbits, getting people, tied down with paperwork and things like that. The convention center does 40 days. I'd like you to consider maybe tacking on an additional 10 days. But again, that's up to you guys. And then there was also needed to be some clear language about how much of your deposit you get back. All ours said was you get your full deposit back if you rent the facility and cancel within 2 weeks of your event. That was all it said. It did not give you any real percentage after those 2 weeks. If you cancel in that two-week window, it did not tell you then what you got back. So I wanted to see something like that put in as well. Outside of that, it's just the bulleted items kind of reiterate what we've already talked about, security being required for 100 more attendees. And then we went back to that last bulleted item on page 3, which is where we adjusted the hours. I put it back to where it was prior, now that we're kind of functioning in a full capacity now, which is the 10 p.m. catering and cleaning crew has to be out by 11 p.m. So I just reverted back to the original policy there. But if you want to adjust those hours, we can so do it. It's a lot, I know. But that's why I said you don't have to take action on any of this right now. I just want you guys to really be thinking this out, because these are the holes I'm seeing in policy now that I'm working with people. The main thing is going to be that mandate verbiage at the front.
Go back and answer for me, please, Marcy, on the security.
Mm-hmm.
Before, we had to arrange with Lincoln Parish.
Mm-hmm.
So are we now allowing them to make sure that they take care of their own security, or how is that going to work?
My recommendation is that we still continue to book it, because that way we're guaranteed it's being booked. Whereas opposed to if we get somebody, if we make the renter book it, they can say, oh yeah, I've got it covered, and then here comes the night of, and they can say, well, I guess they just didn't show up. You're kind of, it's an accountability issue there. I would say that it would be due diligence on our part to make sure that we're following that policy if we're going to require it, that we be the ones to handle booking it, and that fee would just be added onto their invoice on top of their rental fee.
So
Okay, I think they should say that somewhere, let them know
Okay.
that even though it's coming through us, but you're responsible.
Okay.
it says here security fee $35
Per officer.
per officer.
Yes.
So,
Where is that about security?
Under fees.
It's right after security is required for all events.
so where'd you get that number? Is that a good number, $35 now?
That's from yes sir. Our actual current paperwork says 30 an hour, but the price is 35 through the sheriff's department.
Sheriff or the city police?
Sheriff's department.
Sure. I didn't understand the forfeit part. If this reads like full deposit, you forfeited the cancellation made within 60 days in advance. Then it says refund will be made 30 days of cancellation.
Where are you? Oh, okay, so what you're seeing is what's not in yellow is what the current policy is. The current policy says refunds will be made within 30 days of cancellations. So what's in yellow is what I'm recommending.
That would go away.
Yes, what's in yellow would replace what comes behind it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Sorry, now I get it now.
So that would take it out.
That would take that out, and the yellow would replace that.
Okay, replace. Well, I think you made a very good suggestion too, Marcy. This is quite a bit of information for us to digest, and I don't think that we would do justice and diligence to doing that in this one setting. So I'm gonna probably, ask board members to take into consideration and bring this back up again.
Okay.
Will next board meeting be too early?
I don't think it'll be too early, but I mean, can we, also, if we're gonna go back to these times, 10 PM and 11 PM here, I wanna take action on that too now. I mean, we can,
So we're gonna take action on the first part. which is
I'd
the-
like to, if they say no, but I mean, the hours thing isn't, I don't think there's a lot of debate about that. We all kind of seemed last time like, we don't wanna reduce the hours if we don't have to, so if we can go back to this 10 PM, 11 PM, I'd love to see that as soon as we can.
Right.
Well, it's in there like that, isn't there?
Well, actually,
And by
so
you
currently,
doing that-
remember, we rolled it back. We rolled it back weekdays to 8 PM,
Oh,
and
to
we rolled
8.
it back Friday and Saturday to 9 PM.
Okay,
So this is putting it back at where we were before this,
oh,
you know,
okay,
because remember, we were 50% capacity, there
yeah.
was a whole bunch of other things going on. And so this would put us back where we were with the original policy.
Well, I think that we probably need to go back to what we talked about, to doing it at 9, I think, during the week, and then,
During the week, oh, so you're wanting to roll up the weekday by,
was it 8 during the weekday? I can't remember.
So the new proposal that she has in front of us is that we're gonna revise this policy, and it's gonna go that every event has to end by 10, doesn't matter if it's weekday or weekend.
that's how we were before.
And no later, and catering, everybody has to be out by 11. And I like that, I like the way it's written, and I think we can act on that.
Rather than different on weekends.
I'm like, you sure you want to do the weekends at 10? Everybody else is at midnight.
It's up to y'all.
That's what you said, the civic center's at midnight, right?
The civic center and the venue, well, pretty much,
Do we,
Weekend.
yeah, they're all at midnight.
well, I mean, yeah, I get, but our originally the policy was 11,
Mhm.
and then we
Well,
rolled back a
originally
little
it
bit
was-
because there was some staff concerns.
Well, we rolled it back because we were easing ourselves into it, and it was an understanding, I'm the one working this thing right now. I'm still the one working this thing right now. So, I'm telling you right now, we've done it for a month, we can go back to where it was. I knew the hours was a point of concern.
So you're concerned, Richard, to go to 12?
My concern is on the weekend, if you have a wedding reception, they're going to be through by 10 o'clock. Not necessarily.
And see, that's where it goes back to, if they stay
Yeah, right.
over.
Yeah, I mean, if you're telling me that midnight's pushing it for y'all, you know, I'm gonna
On a
respect
weekday,
that.
on a weekday, I mean, it might be hard weekend, I don't know.
No, I don't
So
know.
we can say weekend, only on
I'm
weekends.
just talking about weekends.
Okay,
Also on Friday and Saturday, y'all wanna consider moving it to midnight.
Friday and Saturday?
That's what you're waiting for. And I'm gonna be honest with you, looking at the prices, I think that's why we get so many wedding requests, is on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, we're charging 800 and everywhere else is charging 1,200. So, that's probably why we look at that. So we're looking at midnight for Friday and Saturday.
You're covering this, nobody else is covering this.
I've covered everything so far.
I would do.
You don't have anybody you can designate to cover this?
Right now, I need my staff at the desk. Like, if you come in here on a Monday, there's one person working circulation, and we might be 5 people deep. My staff is where they need to be.
You don't have people, everybody's on salary, nobody's on hourly rate?
I don't have any part-timers or anything. We're,
No, I mean, you can't pay overtime for some of them weekends. is what I'm asking.
well,
well, I
since we,
mean, some of them work weekend schedules, but they work library hours.
No, I'm talking about
Overtime. No, the way that typically works is we adjust their schedule to accommodate them being over here. That's the way it's always been done.
I think
Well, if we're still trying to work with Marcy,
if we're still gonna work on, like the fees and the other things, then maybe we can adopt 10 PM, 11, or 11 PM, and then, but still consider we wanna maybe try to move it to midnight on the weekends while we're looking at these issues with
While
the
you're
fees
still
and deposit
filling things
and
out.
stuff, but like tonight, we wanna adopt this line and this line.
Yeah.
Would that work? How y'all feel about that?
Which ones are two that we have to do tonight, Martha?
We absolutely have to do the first one, which states that the library and event center will observe the most current mandate.
Okay, we don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And what was the
And
second
then we're
one?
wanting to go back to our hours, our event center hours as previously, which was 10 p.m. across the board, Monday through Saturday, 11 p.m. for cleaning crews and catering.
I would suggest that we do and we adopt tonight the one that we have to, and still come back and look at the next one about the time in terms of working it out a little more. Because I'm not so comfortable with that, knowing that you're the only person right now. But because we have to, let's go with the one that we have to do and put the one with the time for us to give some more consideration to. What's your feeling?
I mean, I'm okay with that. I just think that I would be comfortable with, and I can make an emotion if I feel like this is what y'all do, that we approve this first line that's in yellow on page 1, and we approve this last bullet point that's in yellow on page 3, and we will look at the rest of it, and we may move that to midnight if we can.
What on page 3?
The last bullet point in yellow on page 3. And I know it's not midnight, but we can still think about that.
Why don't you go ahead and do the security? There's no question about the security.
Well, security
I'm
was
okay
not
with
an
that
issue,
too.
was it?
Huh?
I'm okay with that too.
Security was not an issue,
With
was
100
it?
or more.
Well, it wasn't in there, you said, right?
It was not an
It
issue.
said, previously it stated that the need for security would be determined by the event center coordinator or the library director. And I'm really not comfortable with that. I would like something set in stone.
Well, the security. Go ahead.
I'm okay with security.
Yeah,
Because
we-
it's
But
in
you
two
want to
spots.
tighten the
we can
security
always
up.
change.
It's in 2 spots too. So it would be also noted on page 2, under fees, the 5th paragraph in yellow. Security is required for all events hosting 100 people or more. Security fee is $35 per hour, per officer.
And then bullet item number 13.
You mean number it?
It's number 13.
Oh, yeah, okay, 13, 18. So, and y'all don't have to, we can have more discussion on it, but I'll just put a motion on the floor so we can carry this discussion forward. I will motion that we approve on page 1, or we approve the revisions to the event center policy that are before us as follows. On page 1, the 2nd paragraph in yellow, this Lincoln Parish Library and Library Event Center will observe the most current mandate from the state of Louisiana concerning capacity limitations and recommendations involving regulations for public health and safety. Pause. Do you want me to do the next line too? Okay. And then also on page 1, the 3rd paragraph highlighted in yellow, we ask that you please read through these policies completely prior to submitting a rental request. Additionally, on page 2, under the heading of fees, the 5th paragraph highlighted in yellow that reads, security is required for all events hosting 100 people or more, or 100 or more people, period. The security fee is $35 per hour per officer, period. Additionally, on page 3, under the heading of publicity and then the bullet point items, the 13th bullet point highlighted in yellow that reads, security is required at all rentals hosting 100 or more attendees. In addition to, on page 3, the 18th bullet point stating that all rental events must be held Monday through Saturday, no Sunday events will be booked. In order to allow for proper sanitation between bookings, only one rental event will be booked per day. All events not held by the library or its governing authority must end by 10 o'clock p.m. The building must be vacated by all parties, including caterers, no later than 11 p.m. And that we table the other provisions for the next board meeting. That's my motion.
Second.
Seconded.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Do we have any other questions or comments? Comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
I have a comment about her being the only one and staying until midnight.
No, we gonna change it.
We're not doing that.
I know, we're not changing, but still staying till 11, that's late, she's the only one. So, can you come in later? Can you?
I've been, like, today was a late day.
So- Okay,
I work in a remote meeting.
okay. I just want to be sure that,
I appreciate and share that concern. I think that if, you know, obviously, Marcy, if that's a problem for you, if it becomes a problem for you, make us aware of it.
Okay. Y'all can come work some weddings for me.
Yeah, right. Me and my little boy will come up here and do the best we can, like, we can.
That'll work.
Okay, we still have a motion, first, second, other discussions? All in favor,
Do
then?
we have any public comment?
Any comments? I said discussion, so
Okay.
questions.
Is security staying until 11 too?
Don't have to.
Typically, the way security works, this is just what I've seen, is the security stays until the end of the event. Once the event is over, we shut the doors down, and then it's just cleaning crew and the staff member in the building.
So the staff member still be by himself?
Yes.
Okay, that was the concern in the beginning. And is
That's
there
right.
going to be anything that you're going to address later for penalties for when these people stay till 3 or 4 o'clock and ignore when those staff person in?
Right. And that was part of the recommendations we went through. I don't know, Jeremy, if you were in here. There's a whole plethora of things that I put in there.
That's just
And
one
that
of
was
the-
included in the concerns with the deposit and some of that verbiage. So it's in there, they're considering it. That's tabled until the next meeting.
Okay, I just know how many times a staff person's going to walk over in this place.
Other discussions, questions? Okay, are we straight here in terms of trying to be able to vote on this one?
I think we can.
All in favor, may I hear aye?
Aye.
Opposed, may I hear nay? None, motion carried. Okay, thank you. Can we say that we will table the other considerations on here for our next board meeting?
And that was part of my motion. It was a long motion,
Okay.
but I did say that.
Now, we still have one more that we need to go over.
Okay.
That's your
Yes.
trustee job description. In our training, one of the concerns was under the trustee must, that first bullet line says have an active public library card issued by Lincoln Parish Library. After that, it previously stated with multiple usages.
Yes.
We wanted to take that out because
Yes.
in our trustee training, it discussed that how the board cannot have access to patron records, so there's no way for the board to check that. And so we just decided to take that out completely.
And that was fine, we said that, we talked about that.
So we.
I mean, I don't think we ever have done anything wrong. I just think it was a, you know, let's make sure that we're not implying that we're gonna look at your usage if you wanna go be a board member.
Yeah, boy, Big Brother's gonna be watching over you.
Well, and in modern days, so like we track say you're a board member and you only use digital items. It's not gonna show up on your account.
Good point, yeah.
It's gonna show up on the Frugal account, but it's not gonna show up on your account, so. All right, so we just need to make a motion.
May I have a motion for this in
Wait,
terms,
what are you making a motion for?
for the acceptance of the changes on this board of job description for the trustee? We took out the fact that we didn't have to have the library card.
But there's some other things on here. Are we going to discuss all the things on this?
I think that was the only one
That was
that we
that was
had.
the only change.
Only one.
I understand,
Oh, okay.
but I think we need to, we still have this sentence in here that we had that says trustees may not hold public office during the term of the Lincoln Parish Library Board of Control. If we're going to review the policy, we need to review all that. The last paragraph.
Oh, I see what you're
I
saying.
forgot, I'm sorry, I didn't forget about that being an
I
issue.
don't
So
remember.
I think we need to table this, I think we need to have more discussion on this policy
don't-
before we
Yeah, that's it.
adopt it.
Was this did this come out of the,
I don't think
workshop?
anybody-
I didn't think it came out of the.
That part didn't. The only part I was aware of was the other part from the workshop.
No, I forgot, this isn't from the workshop.
That was not. I don't remember that being a part of the workshop.
That's what I'm saying, this is, we need to discuss this.
I think, remember the issue with this is that there was an old police jury policy that said something, and I
I'm
don't know.
not sure where it
Yeah.
came from, I don't think anybody knows where it came from.
Yeah,
Dr. Gillette will probably tell us.
yeah.
He doesn't know either?
I think think
Okay.
we need, before we adopt this, I think we need to have some more discussion.
Well, this is, mine is the part that I took out. This is how it currently stands.
I
So
understand.
you just want to
We
table
need
the
to
whole
clean
thing?
this up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're suggesting then that
Are we
we
table
do
this?
nothing about it
I
and
move
just,
the motion we table for the next meeting.
okay.
I second.
All right.
All right, moved in second, all in favor, aye? Aye?
Aye.
Nays, opposed? Okay, motion carried, we'll
You bring
table.
Marcy up to date in the meantime.
Hey, Marcia,
Yeah.
what about what?
That was before my time.
We're not going to put that hot potato on here right
Yeah.
now, because there are some other kind of hot potatoes with that
Okay, all right.
one. Okay,
And then the
thank
next.
you, Marcy, really appreciate that. Okay. Okay, the next item on the agenda, item number 7, board vacancy. I understand we've had another applicant to submit letter for replacing Debbie Harmon. Where is she? Okay. And what's going to happen right now, we just got the information from Doug, and we're going to take the information from Doug, share it with the board members. The letter, the qualifications, the board will meet with those members, interview them, and the recommendation will be given to the police jury on what the board has suggested. That's what I need to update you about. Any questions, comments from anyone at this point? We don't need to act on that, it's just a comment in terms of being able to.
So when do we make our recommendation? I'm sorry.
After we have interviewed the applicants.
So they're gonna interview now?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't have, the information, the board members have not received information on,
All right.
we just got received.
We just got this, these applicants are going to be invited to come next meeting. Okay.
They're gonna be invited to come, and we're gonna interview them, and then make the recommendations.
Okay.
All right, anything else? Then where is Charles tonight? Our person who normally does what?
And Miss Sandra usually does too, she's not here either.
Okay, since Charles is not here,
I can, well, no, I'm gonna share the wealth. Somebody else can. I've been talking too much.
I'm waiting.
Move that we adjourn.
That's first, that's second? Second, okay. Any discussions, questions? All in favor? Aye? Aye? Opposers, nay? Meeting officially adjourned. Looks like it's 4:05, am I right? 4:05, I think, and we're at that point for the second part of today's meeting. I really want to thank all of you for being able to be so dedicated to the cause, to come out in terms of letting us do what we say we're going to do. Call this meeting for the community liaison to order. Approval of the agenda. May I have someone to approve the agenda?
I motion to approve the agenda.
May I have a second? Okay, move, properly second. Questions? Discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposers, nay? Motion carried. Okay, are there any comments from the public before we hear any of the reports that are coming up? Any comments from the public? Go. Okay, now, we have 5 committees, and we see representatives from each of the committees. I don't know who would like to be first, but whoever's going to be first, would you please feel so free? And we're saying to this tonight too, this is a work in progress. We're just trying to provide an update for where you are with your discussions, with your recommendations. And I'm thinking that maybe somewhere down the line in August, when we come together for that big one, we'll have an opportunity to feather out a little more of what you need to say and do, and we can share that with the public as well as in September. Who's going to be first? Okay. Come on, Dan Hallenberg. Come
Get up
on
here
to...
and get it over with.
No.
I've been told that I have 20 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody misinformed you.
If I don't finish in 20 minutes, the Dr. Clark will turn me into a puppy.
Yes.
So, I do not want to turn into a puppy. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to the board. Mr. Dan Hollingsworth was our designated speaker. And Dan has got some health issues, and we'll remember him. So I fell there to this yesterday.
Okay, stand up, stand with you.
I do have Dan's notes if anybody would care to read them. We have much more flour than what I'm going to have.
Okay, all right. We welcome you. Thank you for taking this place, Dan.
The marketing committee consists of 9 members. These 9 members are Casey Richard, Amy Miller, Nick Davis, Dan Hollingsworth, Sam Williams, David Gillette, Linda May, Earl Griffin, and Amanda Carey.
Okay,
These 9 members come from retirees, business professionals, federal employees, library staff, clergy, and present and past library board members. After the March 31st initial meeting, the marketing committee physically met 2 times, April 14th and April 28th, to bring ideas for discussion and to report on individual findings. The library director also reported on program utilization. The committee also utilized email for discussion and debate about the wording of the recommendations. All 9 marketing committee members voted to approve the recommendation provided today for the board. I believe each one of the board members have a copy of these recommendations.
yes.
I want to start out, what is marketing? Actually, marketing is selling. One definition of selling is to persuade or induce to buy. You may say, well, the library is not selling anything, so, what do you mean to buy? But actually, each taxpayer is buying the services of the library. So we are inducing them to buy. Another definition is to cause or persuade to accept approval of. Obviously, they did not accept approval of at the last election. So we are accepting or attempting to get them to accept approval at the next election. We'll go through these 9 recommendations and have a little discussion about each one of them. The first one, revamp present policies and procedures for the use of the event center to make them more visitor, user-friendly. And you've had a discussion already about some of the changes to the event center policies and procedure, the prices and whatnot. I do have copies of all that. I have read them, and we were talking about the event center a little bit further down in here, and quite frankly, the event center is a topic for another committee at a later date, probably. Divided line item in the budget for marketing. This is something that Casey requested. It is my understanding that there is no money in the budget for marketing per se. And she is of the opinion that she needs some money to pursue marketing for the library. Utilize Friends of the Library to expand marketing efforts. There has been a disorganization of the Friends for probably the last 3 or 4 years. Of course, this last year has been a disaster for everybody. I understand there's been a new slate of officers elected, and they're in the process of trying to organize the Friends again, and hopefully we can get the Friends up and running again. The last list of Friends I have has about 150 names on that list. Some of them are individuals, some of them are families. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Work to develop email marketing strategies for library card members. And I'll go ahead and read the next one also, because those kind of tie together. Utilize library Facebook for surveys and advertising events, as well as providing information to the public after events. Both of these are free services, email, Facebook. I'm not into social media, but I understand that we're not getting as many hits, and I think that's the word that to use, on our social media we would like to get. We need to look at trying to improve the content so that more people are looking at this and getting more information that we're trying to put out. Emails is a little touchy. A lot of people don't like to get emails. They get all kinds of emails every day, and they just want to get them out of the box. But these are 2 things. All of our social media platforms we need to look at, and like I say, they're free, and try to utilize them to advertise the services that we provide, the events that we have, ask for improvements. What are we doing good? What are we doing bad? How can we improve? All of these tools can be used. revisit the original purpose and utilization of the library event center to have events underscoring the library purpose and mission. I was appointed to the library board when we were still in the old library. We had just got the property to build this new library, and we were in the midst of trying to make plans for this new library and even the event center, which is new. Never heard of that. The library had an event center. At that time, Mr. Pody, I think used to be Mayor of Ruston, had moved down to Alexandria, and he brought in the event into Alexandria. I think it was from Germany somewhere, and I understand it was held in upstairs in an old building somewhere, and thousands of people went through the door from over 40 states. This is before I-49 was completed, and you got to be wanting to go to Alexandria to get there. About the same time over in Jackson, Mississippi, they were having these events over there. I actually drove a school bus with a load of Lincoln Parish kids over to one of these events. I wanted to think it was from Russia or something about St. Petersburg or something, and you may have attended some of these or heard of them. And so we're at the library board, we're thinking, you know, gosh, we got this building coming up, we got a dock in the back where we can unload trucks. We're designing a room with high ceilings that we can bring in events and maybe do something similar to what they did in Alexandria and what they're doing in Jackson, Mississippi. We invited the director from Jackson to come over, which he did, and met with the library board in the old library and explained what he was doing in Jackson. The big problem was the state was giving him about $3 to $5 million, which kind of threw us out of the water. We had no access to any kind of money like that. The other thing is, of course, in Alexandria and Jackson also, they charged an admission to get in the door. This being the event center, we can't charge anything here supposedly because it is a public building. It belongs to the parish. Yet we charge for admission to Lincoln Parish Park. We charge for people to use the shelters out there. We charge for RV parking. Right up the street to the exhibition center, they charge admissions to get in there. They charge admissions to participate in some of the events. I mean, their Lincoln Parish police tier property is just like this building is. These are some thoughts that we're throwing out for your consideration. Let's face it, there's going to be some major changes in this event center or we're going to lose it. Okay? Back in November the 14th of 2006, there was a resolution signed between the Lincoln Parish Police Jury and the Ruston Lincoln Convention and Visit Bureau. I've got that right here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I am going to read one sentence. Whereas the Ruston Lincoln Convention and Visit Bureau has expressed a desire to work with the Library Board of Control to fund, F-U-N-D, fund the project. To my knowledge, they never received a dime from the Business Convention Bureau. To my knowledge, they have never scheduled events in this building. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. This library needs to make a relationship with the Business Convention Bureau and maybe get them to do some funding. This director does not be the one scheduling things in this room. There needs to be a professional person hired to run this event center. The Business Convention Bureau has been paying $80,000 a year to support the Lincoln Parish Park up until this year. As of this year, they're no longer paying that $80,000 a year. So they got $80,000 that they've got to do something with. Maybe that could go to hire a professional director to schedule and run this event center. You know, the library is over there. This is the event center. It's not the library. And it needs to be looked at a little bit separate from the library. I know the library is responsible for it. It belongs to the parish. But it's got to be done something different or you're going to lose it. I saw in today's paper the city is fixing to open up their sports complex down south of town. Their director, which they have a professional director, states that they're going to start having trade shows and other non-sporting events. They are going to be your direct competitor for this event center. unless we do something different, we're going to lose this event center. I was told right outside the door, one-to-one, that the health hub is going to get this building. I have been told twice within the last few days, as recently as yesterday, that Allegiance Health Management, which owns North Louisiana Medical Center, has donated property to Lincoln Parish Police Jury to build a health unit, health hut facility. Like I said, I've been told twice by a management person with the Allegiance. I've also been told by a police jury person that this is still not cut dry, it's still kind of up in the air. But hopefully it happens, that the health hut finds a home other than this event center. You know, can you imagine 4 tour buses sitting out there in the parking lot? You know, it's possible, but some changes have to be made to do that. These tour groups are looking for places to go. There's got all these senior citizens. This pandemic is almost over. It's going to explode. These tour buses are going to be going all over the country looking for a place to go. We are blocked off the interstate highway. We've got a big parking lot. We've got the facilities to do something with, and they need to be utilized in a different fashion. Establish a procedure for the publication of designated articles in the media advertising best-selling books, most requested books, and newly added publication with the library. This was brought up because I take the Wall Street Journal. My wife could care less about the news, the business, the finance, but she wants this issue right here because once a week, this chart is in the Wall Street Journal. It tells the top 10 books that have just come out in all different fiction, non-fiction, hardcover, whatever. There was discussion about trying to get this into the local newspaper. Some say, well, they're going to charge us for this. I would think any newspaper would be delighted to publish something that people are going to look forward to buying their paper to see. And this may be scaled down, not quite this detail, but it can be done. And approach our local paper to publish it each week. People could be looking forward to each week finding this to see what the latest authors are writing that they read. Just another idea to look at. Explore partnerships with local university marketing departments to provide exposure to best practice marketing ideas for public libraries and event centers. Most universities, I'm sure, have marketing departments. I'm sure they would be glad to try to assist us in getting some ideas on how we can better market this facility here. Another thing we need to do along the same lines, we need to make a relationship with the Chamber of Commerce. If the Chamber is trying to solicit a company into Lincoln Parish, and they say this company, you know, we've got fantastic schools, we've got great churches, we've got this fabulous park out here, well, we don't have a library. We are the only parish in Lincoln Parish in Louisiana that does not have a library. So they have a stake in this also. They need to make sure that we have a library. So we need to contact the Chamber of Commerce. Last but not least, prioritize community outreach as a part of library marketing efforts. This all goes back to our friends. Casey wanted to have a group of ambassadors. These could be our ambassadors. Said, well, who's going to contact us? 150, probably 200 because some of these are couples. We got 5 board members here. You each take 25 apiece, get on the phone and call them. They're already friends of the library, or they were 3 years ago when I got this list. Let's recruit them as our ambassadors. I thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration. Any questions?
I just want to say thank you so much, Sam, because I have learned so much that I did not know. And I'm hoping that the rest of us who are listening have gotten some ideas on where we can go forward. Before we take any questions, would I ask that the members of the marketing committee please stand stand and be recognized? I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Would you please stand, please? Come on, don't be ashamed.
Thank you.
Thank you so very, very, very much. Don't go anywhere, Mr. Williams, because they may have some questions for you. Questions from Mr. Williams, please.
It's a great presentation.
I love it.
Thank you. And I look forward to continuing working together on the marketing committee and reading some of these goals.
Well, we've got to get this tax passed. If we get this tax passed, we need to come back and look at this event center.
Yes.
Seriously. Either we're gonna lose it. It's that simple.
Yes, sir.
And we need a professional over here. We don't need a library employee down here. She needs that person, if she had one down here, she needs that person down there in her library. The director's really not the one to be doing the things I heard her doing a while ago. And I would like a copy of your recommendation that you had, by the way, if I could have one, please. Okay? Thank you again.
Comments, please. Anybody has a comment? Anybody has a question for Sam? What I'd like to do before we go for the next one, and we're going to do this for the records, especially for the board, may I have a motion and see if we can go on record to accept their presentation and take under consideration what it is that they're recommending.
I offer a motion to accept their recommendations.
And consider what they're recommending. I don't want to say that we're going to accomplish all this because I don't know.
Right.
We didn't say, no, we just said
Okay,
consideration. Okay, are you seconding?
and I will second that motion.
Okay, second by Humphries or Miller. Questions, comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. I thank you so very, very much. And I sat in on the committee that presented before, and it was just as exciting then as it is now to accept what it is that you're giving us. And we're going to do our darn, Sam, to make sure that if not all of your recommendations, those that we can come to fruition. Because I think perhaps you've labored so much to give us more insights that we can do better and feel better. Okay? All right, thank you. That's number 1. We got 4 more to go. Who's going to be next? Come on, don't be ashamed.
I can.
All right, come on.
And mine is rather short. I'm Diana Humphreys, and I'm on the Building, Facility and Grounds Committee.
Facilities and grounds.
Yes, ma'am. And we met Monday, May 3rd at 5 o'clock, and there were 4 members present. Mrs. Hawkins, Robin Hawkins, one of the library workers, Mr. Milton Melton, Mr. Everett Harris, myself, and then Dr. Clark came for the end of our meeting. And we decided, the Facilities and Grounds Committee, we decided that the first order of business for us would be to assess the outside of the building first, just the state of the library itself, the structure, and the grounds out there. So tomorrow at 4 o'clock, we're having a walk around. Mr. Everett Harris, who is a custodian here, has graciously agreed to meet with us at 4 o'clock and take us around to start looking at the outside of the building, and we're going to start it because, you know, the public sees the outside first. What's going on in here is very important, but when you drive by on both sides here, we want it to look its very best. So we're just going to start tomorrow at 4 o'clock, a walk around, and Mr. Melton and Dr. Clark, you're going with us with your walking shoes on, and Mr. Harris will lead this committee around tomorrow. And after that, then we will report our findings after our meeting. And I don't know if we'll be able to do the inside tomorrow as well. We're going to start with the outside, and that may take a little while to
Very good.
go to all the nooks and crannies out there.
Very
And we'll do the inside later. We'll report our findings at the next meeting.
Excellent. We hope that it won't rain on us tomorrow. Okay? Will the members of the Facilities and Ground please stand? Come on, I see you back there. Thank you so very much. We appreciate your help. Any comments, any questions, any other kinds of things that you'd like to say. I look forward to it tomorrow. I'm talking about wearing some sneakers, and we're gonna walk the rocks and go across the ways and see what we can do and what we can recommend. Thank you very much, Ms. Humphries. We really appreciate that. That's two. We have 3 more to go. Don't be ashamed now. Who's gonna be next? Come on up there, Calvin. That's 2.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Bill Jones, and I'm chairman of, for lack of a better term, the Public Relations Committee.
Public relations.
Our committee members are Mary Jo Cooper, Dan Canterbury, Ann Marie Hilburn, myself, Colt Bryant, Chris Garrison, Donna Doss, and George Mack. We don't have a formal report or a formal anything to give you at this point. We say the most important task before us is to get this tax issue passed. Now, we believe that we need to run an old-fashioned campaign. This is a shoe leather, face-to-face type campaign. And it is primarily educational. And so we're in the process of preparing some talking point sheets, general information, history of the library, how many people the library reaches, and the services that it provides. And we want all of us to be prepared to explain our budget. And we need to be able to correct some misconceptions that are still in the public's mind from last year. Now, the election is October 9th. We'll have our informational package, I'll call it, ready within about 30 days. But beginning in July, I believe that would be the appropriate time frame to start educating the public on this issue, what the library does, and how important it is, because it is. So we will need the help of the entire liaison and Friends of the Library Committee. We need to reach every group. Wherever 2 or more are gathered, we need to have somebody there making our pitch, because we have a good pitch to make. That would include the chambers of commerce in the parish, the cities and towns, churches, civic organizations. And so we'll be soliciting help and hoping for specific commitments from people who have a relationship with one group or the other, and they'll be equipped with good talking point sheets that are accurate and easy to understand. And we just have to talk to everybody and be prepared. We have detected no organized resistance, and if anybody has, please talk to me after this meeting. We still have some misunderstandings and some misconceptions, and simply questions that have not yet been answered. One thing we do need help on, because I'm of Sam Williams' vintage, social media, because we do realize what a role that played in the last election. It was not good for the library. So we're looking for help from people who are conversant with and on social media to get our message out that way. That's it. That's where we are. We're just in the middle of completing this. But beginning about the 1st of July, we are going to try, and we'll need everybody's help to do this, to get a list of specific people who are going to specific places and specific groups. We have a good story to tell, but we have to tell it.
Well, you got those of us, all hands on board, we are willing to work. Well, everybody who is a member of the public relations, please stand. I see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's give a round of applause. Thank you so very much, Bill. We do look forward to us. I look forward to trying to be able to get out there and do, and I like the way that you said, we have some misconceptions about the library. We need to straighten that up. I'm not gonna say clean it up, because what they're saying won't help us like it didn't help with the last one. So we have to make sure that people understand what's going on and what we're asking them to do. We thank you so very, very much. Very, very much. Now that's 1, 2, 3. I'm counting. I have 2 more to go. What's 4 and what's 5? 4 or 5, okay.
Or acquisitions.
Okay, Jeremy. How you feeling, Jeremy?
All right, better than it was this morning.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
I got more than that. Acquisitions and purchasing, but we focus mainly on acquisitions of library materials to perform services. We met on Monday, August the 10th at 4 p.m. and all members were present, with Dr. Clark. Members are Jay Ligon, Debbie Holloman, Marcy Nelson, myself, Cynthia Woodard, Mara Johnson, who's a staff member as well, and Ivanelle Honeycutt was absent. Sorry to everybody there, except Ivanelle. We discussed several things, and it was funny that you said misconceptions that people have about the library, and it's amazing how many misconceptions there are about what acquisitions are and what purchase, and how we even do what we do to get the books to people. That came up in the discussion, so that was quite enlightening for me from somebody who's been doing it for so long to hear all those outside views, so I really like that discussion.
Okay.
Of course, the main discussion was about cost of materials and services that the library has at present and the popularity of the very expensive services that the library has. So point 1 being to try and explore ways to either decrease cost or find other services that would be better. So we already got one of those that we have on our list shot down real fast because it was ridiculously expensive. So, but you know, you got to explore your possibilities. So we'll keep going with that. The second part came out of the first discussion, and is a way to, what did I even say here? The committee will explore ways to tailor the library user's experience based on the user's likes and dislikes, current library use patterns, and willingness to explore new collections. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do that just yet, but we're going to find a way to try and tailor-make the experience for every user to introduce them to the parts of the collections that interest them most. That's probably a better way of explaining it instead of the way that I've got it here. Because not everybody uses the library in the same way. You've got your large print readers, you've got your digital people only, that kind of thing. So once you can determine that, then you can start marketing more directly those services to the people who are interested in those pieces of the collection and alternate services that they may not know about that kind of coincide with their likes and dislikes. And then provide special services or promotions aimed at creating a more personal experience overall. In fact, one of the things was, well, if you've got these people and digital keeps getting more and more popular, then how are we going to afford those digital services? And someone, I don't remember who said it exactly, Jay, and then Mara piped up and says, well, why can't we just sell another library card to that person so that they can get more purchases and then we get a little bit of kickback at the same time? So I thought that was a really interesting idea, how the ideas kind of bounced off each other. So a different way of trying to get services to the people who want the services. Number 3, of course, is something that definitely needs to be done. It's to marry the unattended children's policy with the selection policy so that it is clearly stated in the selection policy that the parent is the child's selector, not the library. And then number 4 is to explore new ideas for marketing and collection to involve community members at large. So it could be board members, it could be anybody that we've got on these liaison committees, because Jay mentioned that we used to have the hand-picked display where the employees used to do like their favorite books and put them on display at the end, and he said that he really enjoyed that. It went away. I said, well, because we got to the end and the participation just kind of died. So he said, well, why can't we get other people to do it? And I was like, great, let's start doing it. And then we had another time back when, in the early stages of the library newsletter, we had a community member spotlight, like a user would say, this is why I use the library, this is what I like to do, this is the book I'm reading at the time, that kind of thing. So to add that back into the newsletter as well, something like that to do. And then to try and get more entities that are interested in what the library is interested in, like book clubs, to start using us more, and to possibly have, if they're not meeting here, but to be a hub for them to communicate with each other to start their own book club community. So those are just a couple ideas that we bounced around.
Okay, very good. Don't go anywhere, Jeremy. Let's have the acquisitions and purchasing folks who are back here. Hey, 2, all right, 3, hey, let's give it a round of applause. Thank you so very much. I sat in on this committee, well, I've been sitting on as many of them as I can, and we had some spirited discussions, okay? And we're going to come up with some ideas. And I said to somebody else, we're coming up also with ideas that are not cost. It doesn't have to cost us. Some of the things we won't be able to do because of, but there are many things in here just twerking and changing and revisiting can get us a whole lot of momentum out of what it is that we're trying to do. So we welcome you, and we certainly look forward to us coming back in. And thank you for taking note of what it is they're reading and not reading, and checking out and not checking out. And we're going to do a better job in terms of trying to address those needs. That's what we're all here for. Questions and comments for Jeremy?
This is great. I do have one comment. It just occurred to me out of nowhere, seeing this book club gathering at the library. I kind of forgot about this completely, but I loved in Lafayette, they had little book club bags where like it would be a book and a couple copies of the book. And I was in a book club, and we would regularly go and check out one of those bags and use those books for our book club. So
That'd be one of the things we'd see if there was an interest here.
yeah, maybe not. Yeah.
And actually,
But I kind of I totally forgot about that. But that was something, I love that.
yes, and we got to think about this. Some libraries do it from the school age experience,
Maybe,
well,
yeah, maybe
classroom checkout sets. So it's something more important.
Okay.
I like the displays that y'all used to have, the employee, what the employees are reading, and I like those.
We may not have as much time to read now.
Yeah.
And that list that you've made each month of the new books and put them in different categories, that's really a good.
Yeah, I guess that's an improvement that I did on my own, was to change, and I did that for the movies as well, if you haven't noticed, is I completely
Yes.
revamped because before it was just
Yes.
a list of new books and new materials. Well, I turned each one of them into their own real kind of like newsletter. So you get a little bit more information. So you got staff picks in there, and we could add community recommendations to that as well. Because I consider those targeted newsletters for your reader and your watcher. So I guess that's something that would fall under acquisitions, because it's marketing of the collection in its own unique way.
I do think that is a great way to market.
Other comments and questions for Jeremy? Okay, thank you very much, Jeremy. And there should be one more committee. One more committee. Nobody from the finance committee? I think that's the one that's missing.
I'm on marketing, so I don't.
Okay, Richard is on that committee, leaving that up alone. Okay, well, we've had 4 out of the 5 to present tonight. I am just excited. This is wonderful. To hear the ideas that you come up with in such a short period of time. So you can imagine what's going to happen. And I don't know who said it, one of the comments tonight was that, yes, we're working and striving for passing of the vote for October 9th, But can you imagine what's gonna happen after the vote is passed and we get over the hump and some of the other kinds of things that we're gonna be able to do? That's all I'm saying to myself in terms of saying, it's gonna be good going up to October 9th, but after October 9th, watch out, Lincoln Parish, okay? Because we're gonna make you understand that this is a very, very strong force to be dealt with this Lincoln Parish Library. Anybody else has a concern for, did we take a vote on this one? I missed the
We've
vote.
only voted on marketing.
Oh, I'm
You can
sorry.
vote to accept them all as a whole.
Well, can I do that, please? Please, would you do that? Someone make that motion to accept that we.
I'll motion to accept the reports and consider the recommendations of the Facilities and Grounds Committee, of the Public Relations Committee, and of the Acquisition and Purchasing Committee. Since we already did marketing, so those three.
May I have a second? Any discussions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Wow, I feel so very good. Did you have something else that you want to say, Marcy? Is there anyone who's sitting in the audience who would like to have something to say that we can hear you? Please come forward. Come on, Jay.
I don't want to go up, but I was just curious. I wanted to ask Marcy, since you've been here, how do you feel things are moving along?
So I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what I was getting into as far as the public was concerned. I knew things were rocky for a while. I myself have been, for those of you who don't know, I've been making appointments and speaking with several civic organizations. I've spoken for the Lions Club, spoken for DKG, I've spoken for United Way, I've spoken for the Rotary, and I've got a lot more lined up too. I've heard that, and I've been asked some difficult questions, and I have not shied away from any of them. But I have come out of every interaction with a positive. And so I personally feel like, as far as the public is concerned, that they're on board, they're seeing changes, that they hope to continue to see changes in progress. And I think what I'm seeing from the library and from my staff is we're willing to do whatever it takes. So I think we're running parallel right now, and we're going in a good direction.
So,
Jay, you asked something that I asked him earlier. We're in the same line of thought. Anybody else, please, comment. Come on, Debbie.
I was gonna ask Jay, I haven't even asked him yet, but could you tell us a little bit of update on how Friends is coming along?
Oh, that's good.
yeah, sure.
Can we hear him okay?
Yes, Jay, you can take your mask.
That's
Do you want me to go?
Well, yes,
Yeah,
please.
come on.
I mean, I feel bad taking my mask out here.
Oh, okay,
That's right.
okay.
Thank you.
I know that the mask mandate passed, but I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. So we have formed the officers. We did that about a month or two ago. Since then, we have gone through all of the old records. There were a lot of things that were missing pieces, important pieces, so we've been compiling that. And once we had a clear sense of how the Friends needed to move forward, we then started analyzing the past budgets. There were a number of fiscal reports, but they were just individual items. They weren't categorized, so we didn't have a sense of kind of what our budget was for a year. For instance, like the number of library programs, like we'd have individual expenses, but we didn't know this is the amount we need to budget for library programs, or this is the amount that we need to budget for instance, the marketing issues that were listed out. That's one of the key areas that we're looking at. And so we've been working on that as well. We've now got the book sale set for June 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So it will align with the Peach Festival.
And our summer reading kickoff is on Thursday.
Yay.
Oh, that's a
And
great.
my partner in crime here is going to be at the Peach
And
Festival.
I'm going to send people over here.
Right. And so we're excited about that. The thing that's been most telling in kind of this foundational work that we've been doing, though, is the power of the Book Nook. The Book Nook makes 4 times the amount of revenue as the book sale. The book sale takes a lot of effort. There's a lot of moving pieces to get a book sale together. That Book Nook is effortless. And Jeremy's been a great ally with us as we've been meeting and talking about how we can make better content on the Book Nook to drive those contributions. I think in all, and we've set up a Facebook group, Friends of, I think it's Friends of Lincoln Parish is the name of the Facebook group if you want to search it, but it says Friends of Lincoln Parish Library. And we'll be boosting posts out of that to boost the library vote, to boost the book sales and other initiatives that we think are necessary. And the reason we want to boost it is we did a comparison of some of the marketing costs that we paid before, and Casey Richard was a big help with that. And we found that, for instance, a one-day full-page article in the Ruston Daily Leader ran about $1,600. Whereas we could boost on Facebook, where we believe a large amount of our patrons are more active, for $10 for 10 days. And so we can even segment it so that if we want to do something specific to parents to advertise the children's section, we're able to do that. And I think it'll be a much more affordable and a much more powerful way to get out news about the vote and about the book sale. So I think this is going to be a new version of Friends. I think it's Friends 2.0 or whatever you want to call it. But I think that what we're looking at is not just how to operate for the next year, but how to set it up so that it can continue being successful after we step back.
Okay, membership. How will we sign up, when and how much
Sure.
will it cost annually?
So the fees, we have not decided to change them yet, but again, you notice we haven't made an announcement because we are not 100% on that decision yet. If we do, we'd need to address the bylaws, but it would be $10 for an individual, $25 for a family. There's a patron option, there's donations, there's also corporations and groups. We're looking at all of those and how to increase those efforts, such as corporate sponsorship or donations and things like that. And we are going to officially start that at the book sale. There will be a table. This was Jeremy's genius idea, is we're going to give half off to anyone that signs up to be a friend at the book sale.
Great.
So they would come in, pay the $10 or $25 for a family, and we will mark half off of all their purchases at the book sale. Another one of Jeremy's genius ideas, because he is a very smart guy, is that we're going to be doing a bring your own book bag. That doesn't mean a garbage bag, that means a book bag. And I think you were saying, what was it, $10? We were thinking for that book bag. So they can fill up that book bag for $10. That means you join and become a member, you're walking out for $5.
Very good.
So that's our buddy right there. He's making the magic happen. So thank you. So does that
And then
answer
you
your
register all those books with our summer reading program, and you get prizes for reading them.
question? There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions about Friends of the Library?
This is great. We may have this, and I'm sorry if I don't know, and I'm just asking the question, but do we have like a board member that's on the Friends?
So we are.
Okay, great, okay.
So there is a non-voting role for board, and also the director is a non-voting.
Okay.
And we reached out to Dr. Clark about that right when we were forming, and she confirmed, yes, we do want someone on there, and I was going to talk to you about
That's
that.
fine, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'll add it to my list of meetings.
But
And I'm not saying that like to micromanage or anything, just so we would know, like, so we
What's
have
going on?
somebody that.
no, but I will make a confession. The board is run, or the Friends of the Library is run by 3 people that live on one street, which is not ideal for representing the entire parish, but it is great because we meet generally once a week. So I don't know who's ready to meet every Saturday like we do, but we tend to meet every Saturday and go through and do a lot. So you're more than welcome to join us. We do make cold pressed coffees and other beverages of choice.
Excellent. Oh, we're so excited, aren't we? Yes, we are.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the
Jay.
report, Jay. I think that was very beneficial.
Yes, ma'am.
Very, very much. We look forward.
I just didn't want to announce anything until it was ready. So.
Oh,
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
anyone else? Can we hear from anyone else in public? Public, private, media? We're giving you a chance to? Okay, then if I hear nothing here from no one else, I truly want to thank you for coming out today. thank you for the time that you put forth and the effort that you put forth, being a part of the committees and representing them. And I know I thank you, and I know the people of Lincoln Parish thank you too. And we're gonna see how we're gonna have this great big celebration on October 11th. I just said October 11th, right?
The ninth is
I said 11th.
the day after, I mean, the day
2 days after, we're gonna have a shame dang do. All right? Okay.
We get to sleep on Sunday? Okay.
Don't on Sunday, we have to be Christians. All right, may I have a motion for adjournment, please?
A motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
All right, probably move to second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Thank you so much.